Hello, welcome to today's Tech Wednesday event dedicated to Webroot. My name is Anna Łyczek and I'm Product Manager for Webroot Solution. I will make a quick product presentation. I'll tell you more about the company and about product and its functionalities. And then my colleague Mirosław Menar, who's also here with me, will do the technical part. So let's start. So Webroot is one of the leading IT security vendors in the world. The company was founded in 1997 with the headquarters in Broomfield, Colorado. The company has branches and operates through the US, Europe, and region of Asia and Pacific. We're cooperating with the offices based in London and Dublin. In Poland, Webroot's authorized distributor and its representation is Bakotech. So it does. Until 2009, the company was producing traditional antivirus based on signatures, but then they decided that with the more sophisticated threats that we're facing nowadays, traditional solutions are not enough. So in 2009, development of Minesweeper, which was the name of the previous solution, was stopped. Then Webroot hired new developers and began to work on new solutions. Webroot Secure Anywhere was introduced in 2012 as an innovative next generation endpoint and mobile protection security. Currently, they have more than 30 million users in more than 25,000 companies. They have also been awarded multiple awards for IT security innovation. Before we talk about Webroot's key features and innovations, let's talk about why they have decided to change their approach to IT security. Well, so the first and main point is that hackers became much smarter and they work much faster. They also use new custom tools and backdoors for the attacks. Signature-based technology are usually overwhelmed and defeated by micro-release cycles, and it's due to the fact that creating signatures requires samples for analysis. Right now, we also have threats such as phishing or ransomware, which attacks our systems in real time. Traditional solutions cannot react fast enough to the zero-day threats because at first they need to identify and define the threat, and then the manufacturer must release the patch. Traditional signature-based antiviruses also lack the necessary visibility across the threat landscape to be effective. Our report shows that more than 60% of breaches go unidentified for months. And what is also really important, increasing a local base of signature have a big impact on the system productivity, and at the end, it slows it down significantly. So what did Webroot do? Well, at first and the most fundamental change was transfer of the main scan engine from a local endpoint to the cloud. The cloud is able to process the queries more quickly and efficiently without affecting system performance. Webroot offers a massive cloud service, which is called Cloud, and it offers a range of security services such as IP files, mobile apps, or reputation, or web classification. Webroot is trusted by industry-leading partners who's using the service to protect their networks and use the bright cloud reputation services, and those partners are such as Cisco, as Palo Alto, as F5, or Citrix. So what else? Another big change was recognition of the technology based on signatures and replacing it with innovative technology of file hash scanning with proactive threat detection technology. After initial scanning, Webroot adds hash, which is MD5 technology, and a flag, which is another hash based on Webroot's patented algorithm. It is added to the file, and then the hash is sent to the Bright Cloud for categorization. Flagging is the second security system that guarantees that our us and that your system will not be compromised. Due to the fact that we do not send any signatures, we limit the impact on the system load. As well, we increase the security of our data. From the remaining innovation, we also have here, we have local sandbox where we can pseudo-execute the files. And we also have two other security mechanisms. The first one is journaling, which records step-by-step changes that an unknown file does in our system. We also have rollback, which allows you to restore your system to a state before the file or process was started. Regarding additional benefits, what is also worth mentioning, we have a super light agent, which is less than 1 megabyte. It is installed, which is installed on the endpoints. We also have here a really easy and super fast installation. Initial scan usually takes only a few minutes or even seconds. So there is also no impact on the productivity and efficiency of the production system. We also have access to very intuitive and central management console for all of the devices. So how does, sorry for a second, I just minimize the window because somebody has activated the webcam. So how does it work? Well, we have a few scenarios. So the first one is when the file will be good. So when we have a new file on the workstation, which is protected by Webroot, Webroot's adding a hash, which is sent to the Bright Cloud, and Bright Cloud checks the hash with the categorization, and then send the answer to the endpoint, to the agent, if the file is good. If the file is good, it's being executed. So, second scenario. Second scenario, when we have different situations. So we're sending a question to the Bright Cloud, but we're receiving information that the hash was identified as a bad file. So the file is being blocked and it cannot harm our computer. But actually the power and the most interesting scenario is this last one. So it's the situation when we have the file which is unknown. And so in this situation where we're sending hash to the Bright Cloud, we're receiving information that Bright Cloud doesn't know the hash and doesn't have categorization for this file. So what you can do? So the first thing that you can do is open the file locally in your sandbox and to check what kind of processes are starting. Then you can also send this information to the Bright Cloud, and if they know those behaviors, you will receive information or categorization if it's bad or good, and it will be executed or it will be blocked. But also, if we still don't know and Bright Cloud will not have any information for you if the file is good or bad, Webroot will allow to start the file, but it will register using a journalism mechanism. It will record all of the processes that are being started by the file, and then when we receive the categorization from Bright Cloud, if the file will be bad, we'll be able to use mechanism of rollback, so we'll be able to restore the system to the state that it was before the processes were allowed. So this is it. I actually would like to invite you to testing Webroot. You can check and you can download the trial from the website. You can test it for 30 days. Also, in case of any questions, please feel free to contact our sales team and contact Jacob who's your main contact here regarding Webroot. Right now, we're going to move to the technical presentation, so I'm giving voice to Mirek. Thank you.
Hello, welcome everyone. My name is Mirosław Menel, and today I will show you the technical part of our presentation. There will be the console management, and we will run some scans of the computer, and I will show you the agent console. So let's start. I will share my screen. And first we have some login portal when we can log into our console, because Webroot provides you their own cloud infrastructure. You don't need to put some on-premise server inside your organization. The only thing you need to do is to register on that page and log in into your console. The Webroot will provide you your own server, which is hosted into the organization, their infrastructure. So I will log into my console. This is a two-factor login, so you will see how it looks. Okay. The first one is a password, and then there's a security code. Remember that. Okay. Let's move to the console. So wait one moment. Close that and go to the lab console. Okay, this is the first thing that you are going to see under the console. This is a simply dashboard with a graphical representation of some events occurred in your organization. There is a agent version spread, and you can force agent to update themselves, so you don't need to care about some updates. It will go automatically, and Webroot do it for you. Okay. The first page is a policy page when you can create some policy, change already added policies, or export or import policy from another console. If you have, for example, two consoles, you can prepare some policy and export it and import from one console to the another. This is an import-export solution, so you can, for example, create one policy for two consoles and export it. Okay, I will go with a test policy, and I will edit a policy, but first I need to talk about recommended defaults and recommended server defaults policy. This is a recommended policy from a vendor, from a Webroot, even for a server or endpoint machine. And next is unmanaged policy, which allow you to give the control about the settings to the user. For example, I don't know, one of my colleagues will ask me that he wants to change some settings under the agent console. I can connect him to the unmanaged policy, and then he will have power to change some settings. If I want him to go back under my protection, under my management, so I can change his policy to, for example, test. Okay, let's go with the test and double click to edit that. And first, you can see some basic configuration. This is a configuration about some basic settings. For example, show system try icon, so show secure anywhere in the start menu, in the add remove programs, in the Windows Action Center. But the most important thing here is a poll interval. This is the frequency of, I would say, agent asking the console if some changes was made. For example, I will change some policy. Let's say I will change this one, add remove programs, to the off. You need to save that and then promote draft changes to leave. Send the command to the agent, and agent will get that command after the 30 minutes. If I change that, for example, to the 15 minutes, it will be the 15 minutes. So from my opinion and my recommendation is to change the poll interval to the 15 minutes, to the shortest one, because sometimes you need to send some command to the agent and be sure that the command will be executed in the short time. Next is the scan schedule. When you can schedule some scan, but let's assume you have scan frequency at a daily scan and a time at 10 a.m. And let's assume one of the computer was turned off at the 10 a.m. So after when I boot that computer, for example, at 11 a.m., then the start will be the scan will be made at the 11 a.m. So there's no worry about some missed of scan or something like this. Okay, we can change some scan settings here, some scan frequency, but the next thing is actually the scan settings. The Webroot is able to scan master boot records, which is a part of hard drive responsible for booting, I would say. And the older anti-malware, antivirus solution didn't look at that sector of the hard drive. Now there's some changes, but Webroot as well can check the NBR. Another thing is enable right-click scanning in the Windows Explorer, so you can enable your user to do, for example, something like this. I'd like to scan that file. I can right-click and scan the file with Webroot. Another thing is scan archived files and showing some infected scan results. This is simply basic configuration. Another thing is self-protection. Webroot has self-protection. For example, let's assume I'd like to broke into some machine. I'm a hacker and I'd like to hack some machine, and I will notice that on the machine is a Webroot installed and Webroot is blocking, for example, my virus. So I will send another application which try to, for example, I don't know, uninstall or harm the Webroot in different ways. Webroot has a protection from that kind of behavior, so every application which try to make some changes on the Webroot itself will be blocked. Heuristic is the way how the agent is working. For example, you need to check very carefully every application, be very restrictive. You need to go with maximum settings, but my recommendation is to change that settings to the maximum only when you have knowledge, when you are sure that that kind of machine has some malware, has some virus, and didn't have some antivirus solution. Then you can go with a maximum for a few days, and when the malware will be deleted, you can go back to the medium settings. Age and popularity heuristics It's a checking of older, for example, application. If you would like to check, for example, only very popular application, only application which appear in the clouds, for example, every 10 minutes, every 5 minutes, very often, you can stay with low settings. But if you'd like to, for example, check the application which is not popular, for example, appear, I don't know, once a month or once a quarter, you can go with the highest level, for example, maximum high. It's up to you. The age heuristic is pretty much the same, but we are going to look on the age of application. For example, you can check only the newest application, only the application which is quite new, so you can stay with low. If you like to check the older one, the application which was seen, for example, first time 5 years ago, you can go with high settings there. Okay, the next step is a real-time shield, and this is real-time prevention, I would say. So every time that the application is downloaded to the computer, for example, copy from USB sticks, download from the internet, every application is checked by Webroot. Webroot do not perform scan every day and only then check if the application installed yesterday was good or bad. This is a real-time shield and even behavior shield. So even though you don't need to worry about some missed scan, every application is checked every time it is copied or it will appear on the computer. So you have real-time settings. You can remember action. You can now automatically quarantine previously blocked files, when detected, non-execution, and etc. Show some notificational alerts. This is a simple setting you can go with off or on. The next thing is behavior shield, which check behavior of the application. Let's assume we have some, I don't know, let's say a PDF file, and that PDF file has some scripts under that PDF script which, for example, allow the sender to connect to your computer. So this is some kind of, I would say, different behavior than the strict PDF file. So we can check that, whether it can check behavior of files, and based on that behavior, blocked or allow some files to be active. Another thing is a core system shield, which can, for example, prevent you from modifying kernel or system process. Sometimes hacker, when hackers send you some backdoor, some virus, and connect to your computer, then he changed the process name. For example, on that process, which is every time run on the computer, for example, Explorer. And let's assume I'm a hacker, I will send you some virus, some backdoor, and then change that to the explorer.exe. And every time you go under the task manager, under the processes, you will have no knowledge about some attacks performed on your computer. We can prevent from that. We can prevent from modifying system process, modifying kernel memory. The web threat shield is, in simple words, is web threat prevention. Every site, when the user is browsing some internet, and every site is checked, is there any virus on that site, any malware on that site, and etc. I will show you how it works. So we'll have some presentation of that. Identity shield prevents your computer from some man-in-the-middle attacks, from some application which try to steal some credentials, for example, redirect your machine to another server, redirect your machine to another computer, and etc. If you download some application which try to do that, try to do some man in the middle, some sniffing, some stealing of credential, then Webroot will block that application. Firewall simply integrate with a Windows firewall, so there is a simple settings you can warn user or not. That default ports used to broke into the machine, for example, I don't know, let's say camera ports will be blocked from the outside. So this is some kind of extension, and it's not only antivirus, even some firewall solution. The user interface is choose to hide or show user interface to your users. I will show you the user interface later, so you will see if it needs to be hide or show to the user. System Optimizer is very good tools which allow you to clean some temporary files, some, I don't know, history, search, and etc. Some, you know, the trash stuff from your environment, from your computer, and save some disk space. Okay, let's move on. Now we're going to go to the group management, and all endpoints are installed with agent installed on it. And as you can see, I have two endpoints. I can create a group for that endpoint, for example, I don't know, technical department, sales department, etc. I can go with Active Directory. If we have Active Directory, we can connect that. If we have work, we can connect that, and etc. But what is most important, and what is very good options under that, and very good solution is agent command. For example, I'd like to perform some scan on that computer, web PC. I will go with agent, then agent, and scan. As you can see, there is the agent command, and if I send some command to the agent will get the command after the poll interval time, which is 15 minutes right now. So if I send, for example, agent command, after the 15 minutes, agent will contact with server. If you have some comments for me, or if you have some policy changes, yeah, actually I do. You need to perform scan, and then agent will perform scan on the computer. Scan a folder, clean up, change key code if you change some your licenses, and etc. Even you can log off, restart, or shut down the computer. If you need to be sure that every computer in your company is turned off after the 5 p.m., you can select all computers and send shutdown commands, and after 15 minutes, every computer will be turned off. So you have you are sure that every computer is turned off in your company. Identity shield, which can allow or deny some application, protect some application from stealing credentials. For example, I'd like to protect, I don't know, Skype application from stealing credentials. Because if you use Skype, you need to log in and then type password. And I'd like to protect the application, and I can type Skype here and protect Skype from stealing some credentials. Another command is a DOS commands and some advanced commands, I would say. And we need to go with a DOS command sometimes. And for example, you need to send some DOS commands to the computer. You can use that, and every command will be executed with admin privileges. For example, you need to, I don't know, uninstall something silently. You can send uninstall command. You need to have information about MAC address of every computer in your environment, because you need to sign IPs to the MAC. So let's go with something like this. That's my favorite example. And network. And then after 15 minutes, every agent will get those commands, and at the C drive create a file called networks.txt, which is a notepad file, and under that files we will have information about network settings, including the MAC address of every computer. And then you can send email to all, please go to the C drive and send me the files called network.txt. You don't need to ask them to run some command line ipconfig. Oh, it's not a ifconfig. It's not a Linux ipconfig. Okay, you need to say ipconfig. That's standard command. You can select all computers and send some commands to all computers, to the group of computers. You can change the view of that information here. For example, I need to have information about first in, and that agent was first in at the September 13. I have information about agent version, I have information about status, not seen recently, protected, etc. I have information about the outside IP address, internal IP address, current user logged into the machine. Let's move on. We have reports, and you can run every report you wish from every period of time. For example, I need to know about all threads since, for example, from yesterday to today. I have no threads, so there's no reports right now, but if I will have some threads, for example, I don't know, some malware application, you can select that application and create override, then the application will not be blocking. So you need to be very, very careful about that override creation. I can restore that application from a quarantine and etc. But let's assume I made some application, for example, account application. And Webroot don't know that application, because this is obvious, because Webroot is based on the Bright Cloud information. But I don't want to wait till the Webroot gets some information about the file. I'm sure that the file is safe, and I don't need to. I don't want to Webroot blocking that application. So we can create file whitelist and blacklist to block application every time. If you need to not block an application, you can create whitelist. You need to provide some MD5 or path file. If you need to create some MD5, you can type in the Google MD5 online generator, and you can generate MD5 from every application. And then the application will be on the whitelist. The same thing is with web browsing, because if, for example, some website will be blocked and you need to visit that website, you can take responsibility for that and add some website up to the whitelist and visit that website. So you can create some whitelist of websites. The next part is alert. You can create some alerts, for example, threat detected, and you can choose what kind of information the alert will have. For example, I need to know the host name, the group name, the policy name, MAC address, IP address, current user. And if some threats occurred, then you will get information. It will be email information but you will get that information immediately. After a few seconds, when some malware will be detected, you will get some information that on that hostname, with that MAC address, with that IP address, and that current user was some threat, and you can check that or not. Okay, the next I think is the settings, which allow you to show all data or hide data older than 12 months, 6 months, 3 months, 2 months, and 1 month. It's up to you if you want to see all data or only the data from the last 12 months. The logs will present you who logged into the console, modified what, for example, add some policy. This is a simple audit drive. What was done by who and etc. Resources allow you to download agent as a exe file, as a MAC file, or even as a MSI file, which allow you to run some group deploy. Okay, I promised you to show some Webroot scan, but first check some web shield. I have information if the website is safe or not. The green means that the website is safe. I can go on the website. If it will be the red one sign, the website has some malware inside and my website will be blocked. Okay, let's run some scan on my computer, not under the virtual machine, because my computer has some files and my computer worked for, I would say, 2 years, so there is plenty of files to be scanned. And this is the agent console. I told you that you can hide that or not, but you can allow the user to change something, as I can, or not. For example, under the virtual machine, user cannot even open that console and cannot change some settings. You can, for example, allow to open that console, but do not allow to change settings, only allow to run some scan. But let's run some scan and go with resources. Okay. And we need to look at the WRSA. As you can see, processor consumption is 0% and less than 1 megabyte of RAM. Let's perform some scan. 4%, 3%. Let's say about 1.5 megabyte of RAM. As you can see, the consumption is very, very low. My computer is a Core i5 with 4 gigabytes of RAM. Not something special, extraordinary. Every computer today has some resource as mine. So, as you can see, the consumption is very, very low. User do not have knowledge about some scans. User will not notice that some scan is running right now in the background. So, as you can see, the most, I would say, advantage or power of the Webroot is low resources consumption and some kind of extra extension like agent command or etc. Okay, we have 2 minutes left. Let's say 5 minutes. If you have some question, you can ask me them right now. I will try to answer that. Is there anyone who has some question? Maybe you need to ask about something. From my point of view, I encourage you to test that solution, because as Anna mentioned before, you can test that for free for 30 days. There's even a mobile solution, so you can protect your Android and Mac Apple phones. So there's another of the mobile solution. You can test them for free and have some I don't know, knowledge or some skills about Webroot. Okay, as I see, we do not have any question right now. So just to inform you, our today's session was recorded. If you go under our YouTube on our YouTube channel, you can watch our today's session in the near few days. It will be uploaded, so you can watch once again that and, for example, test some policy changes or agent comments. Thank you very much for today. Thank you very much from Anna. Thank you very much from me. Have a nice day. Maybe Jakub will want to add some information because our colleague Jakub Hajduga is responsible for EMEA territory, I would say. So.
Hi everyone, I will follow. Thank you, Miroslav, for the introduction. I will follow up with each of one individually. So thank you very much for your time, and we'll be in touch shortly. Thank you. Goodbye.
Bye bye. Thank you.